Hey Indira, how are you?
Hi, Anil. I'm really great. Great to be with you again.
I know, I'm really excited. We have chatted in the past about so many topics on self-mastery, conscious leadership. Um, I'm excited about this first of 8 parts that we're going to undertake around what you're writing about, something that's very passionate to you, the 8 elements. Indira, can you maybe give us a taste? What is and why are the 8 elements so important to you?
Well, the 8 elements really have grown out of the need to have a ritual, a sequence of practices, a series and set of practices that I could do on a daily basis that are going to ensure that I stay calm, centered, really get to know my power, find ways to have greater insights. And ultimately, it's about true independence and self-reliance when it comes to, when the chips are down, we all have times in our life when we realize no one else can do it but us. We have to do it for ourselves. But there's a deeper understanding that comes with that. So you and I in the past have talked about the still mind, wise hearts. The way to get to a still mind, the way to get to a wise heart is through having these practices.
Love it. Still mind, wise heart. I still love that. I will.
T-shirts coming,
The
mugs.
t-shirts coming, the caps, the whole lot. Like if you haven't heard it, you've heard it now, and if you've heard it now, it stays with you. Indira, I want to just so the 8 elements of conscious self-leadership that you have referred to are creative visualization,
Yep.
intention, mindfulness, energy, contemplation, journaling, attunement, and meditation.
Yeah, that's it.
Now, we're going to start with the first one on creative visualization. But before we do, is it the favorite of the 8 for you? Or is there one of the 8 that you're like, that's my favorite of them all?
My favorite's meditation,
Ooh.
because meditation is the key to everything to do with consciousness. And, your mantra of live, breathe, believe, meditation ultimately is the answer to everything we're really looking for. So it's the last one in the list, but in a way, it's circular, and they can be seen as spokes on the wheel. But if I really think about how does consciousness come into being in the physical form, then creative visualization is the starting point. But you might have been meditating in order to come up with visualization. So that's where they, it's like the fish eating its own tail in the end. But we have to start somewhere, and those elements are, in a sense, a process that will make sense over time as well, because one does support the other and leads into and relies on the previous one in many ways. So what you're doing is you're building self-mastery, you're building a process that you can dip in and out of, but they all hold together in a really rich and deeply yet simply, what am I saying? It's a deeply enriching and transforming process to put you through. So the reason that I've been so wedded to these and decided to write a book about it, create a program and coach around them is because, and I'm still seeing it in conversations with people who are on the conscious path, conscious business path, conscious leadership path, conscious living path. Very few of them are actually talking about their own personal practices and what they're doing to raise their own consciousness. And so this is my answer for us all.
Well, I think
You've
it's
got to do the work. You want to raise your consciousness. How do you do it? You do it like this.
No, I wholeheartedly agree. And, I know a friend of mine who's quite senior at a company in California who apparently has told me that the secret for him to be able to handle the pressure at work has been his meditation.
Mm-hmm.
And my sister got me into meditation over Christmas at the end of last December. And honest to God, hand over heart, I've been doing it nearly 6 days a week. I will get to the point where it's daily foreseeable, and it's been transforming. So we'll talk about meditation later. It's saved the best for last, so to speak, but I'm very much already excited for that one. So on that note, shall we go ahead and get started? And
Let's launch into creative visualization.
yes. So creative visualization, from what I understand, before I hand the mic to you, when you actually practice it, parts of your mind actually react as if you're in the exact activity. So, mind you, actually, I'm going to take a step back. For everyone listening, the goal is to make all these digestible and bite sized, because these are very powerful topics and amazing ideas. And as you said, Indira, they're transformational, but we want to make sure that folks can bite size it. So as we go through it, I might even ask you a question, Indira, hey, help me out. How would I then translate that? Or I might just give an example and just validate, hey, am I on the same page as you? So I'm excited to see where we go. So right, back to you. So creative visualization, mind is reacting as if you're doing the activity. What are your thoughts, Indira?
Yeah. Well, the reason that I've put creative visualization first is if we really think about where does an idea come from, or how do we actually start to decide to take action around something, or we even say, I really want this. It comes from something within us. And usually it will come like a spark or a little aha or an awareness. It might be a softer, quieter thing, but ultimately consciousness starts to emerge through a feeling or a vision of something that wants to be. And it will come with a desire within us that we want to make that be. Mm-hmm. So we start by visualizing, what is it? And the more detail we can put around that, the clearer the message is going to be to our mind. And then ultimately that part of our brain called the RAS, the reticular activating system, that goes looking to match up what we desire with the outside world and bring it to us. Those things will have clearer messages from us. So the value of visualizing something more fully is it will become more real, more easily, perhaps even faster, and more accurately in terms of a match to what we really want. So it becomes more efficient because we're not going out saying, oh, it was kind of that, but not really. I think I need to add this to it. And that's fine because you can refine it. But if you start off first with really knowing why and what it is, and what does it feel like, the stronger your manifesting power is going to be.
I love that. The why, the what, and the feel. So I know when people talk about manifestation, and it's an authentic intention. It's a real intention. Like you said, if you cloud your reticular activating system, you're gonna cloud it. You're not gonna get and draw in what you're looking for or create what you're trying to think. So it's about having a genuine intention to manifest it in your mind, and therefore in your mind, outside of you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. What if people struggle when it comes to this type of visualization? How would you coach them, or how would you advise them to undertake that practice?
It's a really good question because not everybody is visual as such with their inner spiritual gifts. You know, some are very auditory and hear words, will hear messages, will imagine sound with things when they're thinking about being somewhere or having something. It might have sound. If I think about, you know, the classic one is, you know, my favorite car, the car that I would really want. I don't think about the sound of the car, but some people might, and they can hear the tires on the road, and they can hear the sound of the engine purring, and they can hear the sound of the horn, hear what they're saying when they're sitting in the car with people, the music playing, all those things. So you can still visualize using sound, and likewise you can still visualize using feeling. So for some it will be the smell of the leather, and you know that's olfactory, but the feeling of being. How does the seat feel? How does it feel when you're holding the steering wheel? Is it covered in leather? Is it, how does it feel on the road when you're moving? How does it feel with encapsulated in this car? So you're getting all of your senses working to the best of your ability. And so I still call that creative visualization, because ultimately your unconscious really only understands feeling anyway. But for some of us, we need to visualize it in order to feel it. So when we get to talk about how do you create a visualization, that will probably become a bit clearer. But great question, because there's no point in saying I can't do this because I'm not visual. That we all do this all day, every day, in some form or another. Just going onto the internet to start browsing for the latest Nike shoes, you know, that's what we're doing. We're already doing the process.
It's just doing it in our minds and
Yeah,
flexing.
we don't realize it's so automatic. So what I'm really saying is we can use this in incredibly practical ways, and we can cut down on a lot of anxiety around, I can't see where it is, I need a new job, I need to find more money, I need, all the things that kind of we can scare ourselves with, is start to hone in on, right, let's do a visualization. What do I really want? And ultimately, you can't aim for something without knowing what you want.
I almost feel like creative visualization is like one of Superman's superpowers, and fear is like that kryptonite that kind of almost cripples that power,
Yeah.
with almost prevents you from wanting to think or have that positive visualization and manifest it in your mind.
Absolutely. Great thing. I love that. That's a fantastic analogy, because we know how disempowering fear can be. And the thing to understand is that the very first place our brain will go is to what we should be looking out for to keep us safe. So it's not bad to feel fear. It's just not helpful to get stuck in it and stay there too long, unless we're going to do our WHIP plan, which says, my plan B for getting out of that, if that happens, is this. And that will calm down the system, calms down the old brain, the amygdala, the limbic system. It calms all that down. And then you could come into frontal lobe, you can come into creative intuitive center, and allow yourself to start envisioning what you want instead. So unless you're very, very attached to a lot of, we can gain a lot from people, a lot of attention, a lot of negative attention through our fear. If you're really attached to that, you'll struggle to let go of it, because actually this is what makes you self-reliant, right? And independent. So you're going to have more positive relationships, but we've got to understand that we don't need to be enmeshed in those negative ties with people through our upsets, through our sadness and grief and our worries and fears. We relate to each other through that, but that's not going to progress us. It won't help us grow. That just keeps us stuck. It's enabling the ego, it's enabling the child within us. So creative visualization is really powerful. It is Superman power, and we need to feel that we're ready for that. That it's already there. It's not something we have lost or have to gain. It's there, we're just not using it.
So if we think of the value of creative visualization, and I know you already mentioned one piece is self-reliance, another value or another advantage or benefit is it develops self-trust. And by having those two, like you say, you can overcome that fear. What are additional values, the value of practicing creative visualization?
I think it helps us get clearer about what we really want, because if we really sit and give it 5-10 minutes of working out what would this look like, would this be okay, and being brave enough to put ourselves there anyway, we can soon decide, does this feel right for me or not? Because sometimes we're visualizing something that we think we should want because someone else has told us we should want this, or society has told us we should want this. So it also helps us get very clear about, is this the most beneficial thing for me and those concerned? I think it also I know it also builds that that muscle of self-empowerment, where you just start to automatically do it, and you have a way of working out, is this right for me or not, quite quickly. And leaders need to do that right at the table sometimes, in a board meeting, senior leadership meeting. You know, decisions have to be made quickly. So the more we get to do this, the more we can trust that what's coming up is, yeah, this is feeling right, without me having to spend a lot of time on it.
Love that.
And the other thing I was thinking is, it also gives us a way to measure life, because we tend to not sit back. We can say, oh, I don't like this, or life's not going the way I want it to go. But did we actually take stock of all the good things that did happen?
Mm.
So one of the elements is journaling, and in part of visualization is then write it down.
I just think about, when I think about this, and it's just a matter of make sure it's not the difference between creative visualization and like fantasizing. It's ideally the essence of this is you're visualizing things of value that will enhance both you and those around you. So it's not just, oh, I wish I had more money so I could drive around in a Ferrari or in a Porsche and make my way to Monaco and the beach. Like, it's, okay, that's self-serving, great. Hey, nothing wrong with that. You want to manifest that, visualize that, thumbs up. But ideally you're doing this as a practice to enhance yourself and others around you, to kind of reverberate more positivity, more positive energy, more positive goodwill, to folks around you.
And stack beneficial things in your life.
Yeah.
Stack them more closely, have more of those more frequently, and do it in ways that you're in control of. So many people I coach feel like they don't have any control of their lives. They don't have control of the situation. And very often we don't. We have to just live with what we're given. And the last year has been that. However, within that, we've got the power to decide, how will that roll out for us? What's going to be the best thing for me? And not be just waiting for it to kind of be done to us. And that way you step into leadership and you become one of the leaders of the world, who is making great positive things happen frequently. And the more you can do that for yourself, the more you're going to have to give to others anyway. So I see it as the self-reliance of, let's get the foundation for me in place. Let's make sure I'm okay. Let's get my life as sorted as possible, as quickly as possible, so I'm free to be generous, give more, live from a space of abundance, and help others create more of that as well.
I love that. I love that. I think creating more abundance for others, I think, is something nowadays we really need. And because that abundance is actually something that you don't have to worry about ending up in the landfill or creating waste. It's recyclable, and it actually generates good and abundance. It helps others. So just on the back of this, I think, again, something I'm excited about is, what is the best way to practice this? Because I've done it before prior to a triathlon, the start, buddy and I, we kind of visualize, all right, changing into the wetsuit, getting into the water, swimming, getting out, bike, but getting into the run kit, running, finishing. And as I always say, raising my pint or drink with my friends to celebrate the achievement. Lead me through, what would you say are the successful approaches to healthy visualization?
Well, there's a step, and there's many ways to do it, but one of the ways, I'll just talk through the steps that I've included in the program that I've created and will be launching very, very soon. And this is partly why we're doing these videos as well, so people know what they've got available for them. But the first step is to think of something that you want for yourself, and how much you want that thing, and what it will do for you. So to get clear, what is it that I want? How will it feel having this thing? And what is it going to do for me? So a great way to do it is close your eyes and imagine that you have it right there with you, that you're in it in the moment, because your unconscious actually really only understands the moment as if it were present, It doesn't understand past or future. It's very important to actually put yourself in as if it was happening now, and make the picture really vivid, and importantly, feel what it's like to be right in it as an experience. Because really, it's not about the object anyway. It's about the experience of having that object. Even if it is the Ferrari and the great holiday and driving around those beautiful roads in Monaco on the cliffs. So
I know what I'm doing. Yeah. I'm sitting on the couch, gotta like, my girlfriend's gonna be like, "What are you doing?" "I'm driving a Ferrari." "Hang on, you're with me. Don't worry." So keep talking. Now, what music are we? No, anyways, back to you. Sorry.
Yeah. So this is where we, as we said earlier, use all your inner senses to imagine and feel. And if it's a series of events, like when you do a run, then take yourself through that process. Take yourself on the journey step by step and run it like a movie. Run it as you would experience it. And then once you're really in the feeling of it, you think about all of the benefits of having it and the good it will bring, not only to yourself, but to others as well, if others are involved in this. Nothing wrong with just wanting it for yourself because it's good for you. But all of the benefits of having it. And what is it going to do for your life? What will it do, therefore, for others? And then you hold your attention on that experience and feel the appreciation and the gratitude for that experience. So when you go into it and you can feel the benefits of it, then you really start to feel how great that would be and how appreciative you would be and how grateful you would be for it. So your heart gets involved with this and joy comes into it. This is a joyful experience. And then you let go of the visualization, but you stay with the feeling. So you've put yourself through working out what it is you want. You get right into the experience of it using all of your senses. You think of all the benefits of having it and all the good it will bring. And then you're holding your attention on it, feeling the appreciation and the gratitude you have just for having that experience, really feeling your heart soar in joy. And then you stay in the feeling and you can let go of the object, you can let go of the visualization, and you just stay in the feeling of it. And really, that's where you can leave the visualization, but write it down. So journal the process, journal what you asked for, journal how it felt, all the benefits that came up for you and the good it will do, how it felt to feel so appreciative and grateful for it, and the joy that it brought you and will bring others. The important thing then is, once you've journaled that, is really know what that feeling feels like, truly feel it, so that the next time you feel it, you'll recognize it. Because there's a feeling you are looking for, and there might be other ways to get that feeling as well. And then you're really stacking things in your life that allow this feeling to come through. And then also, to build that muscle of self-trust, you need to acknowledge that it worked, right? So journaling becomes a record of, I asked for this, and you could date it and, draw something around it, make it stand out in your journal, and really notice when it materializes. And when it materializes, in whatever form it comes, absolutely show your gratitude and acknowledge yourself for creating it. So, and go back to your journal and note your success. So journaling becomes a way of concretizing it, and it becomes a way of the live, breathe, believe is, you'll believe it when you see it. You saw it, so you better believe it. So it's another way to build, this works, and then you get better and better at it, and you're not sidetracked and hijacked into fearful emotions so much. It's just like, okay, don't want this. What do I want instead? Let's get right into it. Does it feel right? You might have found partway through the process, you know what, this actually doesn't feel so good. I can see how this might impact adversely. Therefore, what do I need to change about it? Or do I need to drop the whole idea? Because sometimes we're chasing after things we think we want and discover we didn't want them at all. And we got them. So find it out before you get it.
No, I love that. I think just even when I think about like the insights from kind of practicing this, and I know we've gone into journaling, which I think is something we should get to in more detail, because I know that journaling is something that's becoming more recommended to people, especially to capture how they feel, not only through a process like this, but just in general, like I feel sick or I feel ill or eating or I'm drinking or, but just going back to some insights I've taken from this is, again, to experience it, to feel it, to know it. And then when it happens, you have the record of it. Like you said, it goes back to, it builds that self-trust. It builds that self-reliance. It gives you the opportunity to really let your inner self feel what that can be. And when I speak to friends who, again, before jumping in the water, I freak out. And then my friend might like, visualize it. Or I think about an interview and I think about how am I going to feel in it? Maybe not the questions I'm going to be asked, but the nervous, the fast breaths. Like if I can just visualize like how it's going to feel and what I would like to say and how I'd like it to come across, how I would like to come across, how I want to ensure that I'm motivated, I'm genuine. I feel that the act and practice of this creative visualization, going back to what I mentioned earlier, you said it's proven that the mind will react as if it's the exact activity. And so when you're actually in the activity itself and you're experiencing it, you're like, I've been here. I felt this feeling and it feels great, or it feels a bit scary. So you're able to almost, experience it within yourself before you yeah.
You can test it out, and that's the thing. It builds familiarity, which also calms down the part of the brain that's wanting to keep you safe. It's like we've already been there, actually, so we know that that's a good feeling. And the next time, especially if it's something challenging, because you're bringing up some challenging situations, the next time it'll be, but we know it feels great at the end of a challenge because we know how to get ourselves through it. And so, and that's what sports people do. That the body actually doesn't know the difference between the so-called real and the imagined, which is also why television and movies can be very dangerous for us, because we feel all those visceral things and the heart rate goes up and we start to feel afraid. We're just watching somebody else's made-up story, but we're right in it. So this is another way of using that to build up an ability within the body. And we know that sports people do that when they rehearse. They'll just lie down and visualize the whole race, and you clearly use it a lot in your life.
No,
anyway.
No, but I am going to try it before our next chat, because I do feel I've not done it in this way, and I actually want to give it the level of thought and in the moment feel that you described. But I do believe in it. I do believe in the practice, and I know that for a fact it does improve how you believe in yourself, how you're capable of relying on yourself, how you have that familiarity that's able to remove some of that anxiety, that fear that typically triggers as soon as you step into that moment or you step into that experience. Hey, this has been brilliant. Indira, any closing thoughts on this one before we next meet to discuss element number 2?
Element number 2, intention,
Yes.
which is what we need to bring to our visualization to take it further down the path. I think the insight for me in hearing you saying all of that about visualization is that when we get that calm and that connected with our own inner power, that's also where our intuition will come in. And that's when the things we genuinely need to be watching out for come forward in ways that aren't old, egoic, hairy monster kind of fears. Instead, that we can, or we will get even more insight as to what this is really about for us and the future of it as well. And so, and we get to feel our power. We have an innate power. So intuition and connecting with our own spiritual knowledge and wisdom, that wise heart, only comes through practice like anything else. And if we don't use it, we don't lose it, but we lose our connection with it. So this is one of the great ways and fun ways, really. You can play all you like with it because it's just a playground of trying it out and put it aside. You can choose not to follow through if you want to. I've had to learn to not be worried about getting in there and giving it a go because I know how quickly I manifest. So I think the minute I go there, it's going to be happening before I've even worked it out. And I've had to calm myself down and say, it's okay to go there, just check it out and then decide, oh, yeah, actually, I really do want this. And then I can go looking for it and I can signal my Raz to go out and start finding it for me.
So for those that haven't listened to or heard our talk on the Raz, please definitely check it out. It's deep, it's powerful. Like all this content, all this information is incredibly powerful, and it's going to challenge how you think. And again, it's all about transformation. So if you're someone who's keen on transformation, someone who's keen on understanding how they can build this muscle, this power that's within them, hey, keep tuned to us. And I am excited about intentions as much as I'm excited about getting to the last one on meditation.
Meditation.
Hey, Indira, thank you again so much. This has been absolutely fun. I look forward to chatting again soon on the next topic.
Great. Thanks, Sunil. Have fun.
Cheers.
Visualizing.
I know I was going to say happy creative visualizing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.